Hi, everyone. Welcome to Hallmark Movie Drafts, where our three guest panelists are all Hallmark movie enthusiasts and Deck the Hallmark podcast double-deckers who love to rate, rank, and debate all things Hallmark movies related. It's March, and we are ready to spring into love today by drafting the 10 best movies featuring fan favorite Brendan Penny. And honestly, I can't wait to introduce today's panelists because we have two first-time players drafting with and against a very experienced and savvy player. So with that combo, truly anything can happen. I'm Lynn, your host, and with me today is Erinbeth, my co-host, and joining as guest co-host is a key member of the HMD team. She vets the eligibility list for the draft. She manages our letterboxd account. It's Kate. Kate, I first encountered Brendan Penny, who may or may not be on the line today. You'll never know. When he starred in the series Motive from I think it was like 2016 or so, 2018 to 2022. It's a detective series. When did you first start?
And so I first discovered the wonder that is Brendan Penny through Hallmark, of course. And he will always hold a very special place in my heart because one of the first movies that really sent me down this Hallmark rabbit hole was Autumn in the Vineyard. And I will always love that movie. I'm putting all my cards on the table now. I hope that movie goes very high on this list. And he has stayed one of my favorite Hall stars ever since then.
Awesome. So Brendan Penny with or without glasses?
Both.
Both?
Either or. I'll take them both.
Either way. All right, great. Erinbeth, what is it that you're drinking today? You've made a couple of recipes for us, I think.
Well, we did make a couple of really fun drinks, and we have a yummy cocktail called Sour in the Vineyard in honor of Kate's fave series. I could not let that one go, knowing how much she loves it. And then we have a mocktail, Pride, Prejudice, and Lady Lavender, and that combos one of my favorite flavor combinations, which is lavender and lemon. I think that's what you're drinking, Lynn.
It is. It's the mocktail, and I have lavender that I dried from my garden this summer. Great. So they can find the drinks on the Instagram. When you were making your list, were there any movies that you hadn't seen of Brendan Penny's before?
Yes, actually, the movie that ends up on my number one spot I had never seen. It was also the very last movie I watched in all of his movies. It came sliding into number one, and it is now, I think, almost one of my favorite Hallmark movies ever. Like, I just enjoyed it so much. You'll have to wait and see what it is.
Okay. And so Kate and Erinbeth, the panel chats can get really feisty, very active, lots of shade can be thrown. This panel was really very kind of quiet and very well behaved. So do we think that they're going to play with love, not throw any vetoes, or is there going to be chaos? What do you guys think?
I don't know. There at the end, as they finished their lists, it was like, nanner, nanner, my list is done. It was almost like it was quiet until we were hitting the finish line. And then they kind of came in with a little bit of the snark of, I'm done, are you?
Yeah, a little spice, a little spice. All right. Well, without any further ado, let's get to the panelists. First up is someone making their first appearance on HMD, who I had the pleasure of hanging out with twice in 2023, once in July at Bramblefest, once in October at the Marathon. She is truly, truly living her best life. It's Christine. Christine, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me.
Was it hard for you to put together your list of 10 movies?
It was. It was really hard. It was fun, though. I watched them in chronological order, which I think was really nice to see the progression through his catalog. But it was really hard to narrow it down as I was just making changes as we were getting started. So we'll see how this goes.
All right. Well, good luck today. And next up is another panelist making their first appearance. He recently received his MD. I don't know how he finds time to do all the things he does, which includes making the world a better place and a more stylish place as well. It is Dr. Thaddeaus. Welcome to Hallmark Movie Drafts.
Well, thank you. I'm really excited to be here. I'm really looking forward to the competition and winning the competition. And I'm hoping that Mr. Penny will make an appearance on the line.
Well, I will tell you this, if Brendan Penny does make an appearance on the line, if Brendan Penny is on the line, and you were on the line as well, I think I would choose you over Brendan Penny, actually. That's how awesome you are. And here's why. Not only because of the comments and the things that you say in the Double Decker chats, especially in the Lifetime movies that we both enjoy watching, is the fact that you're making history today for us, because Bran, Dan, Brian, Candace, Scott, and Ryan have all been on the show before, but you are the very first male double-decker who does not do a podcast, at least not yet, for a living. You are showing all the other double-decker dudes how it's done. So big thumbs up, big round of applause for you. So good luck today, and thanks for joining.
Thank you.
And last, but certainly not least, is our third panelist, someone who's well-versed in drafting. I drafted with her and Sarah in the February 2023 Fake Relationships edition, which nearly broke me, but I did end up winning. I'm just going to say that. It's the one and only Emily, aka Mrs. Walker. Emily, is Mr. Walker jealous that you're going to be talking about Brendan today?
No, in fact, just as a reminder, I did wear my Andrew Walker shirt today. So if anybody does have is questioning my intentions, he's still okay with this. You know, I gotta spread the love, he said, and it's okay.
What about a pillow? Will there be a Brendan Penny is on the line pillow?
No, I don't think that's going to happen, Lynn.
Oh,
but I could always be swayed. You never know, but I don't know.
Yeah. All right. Never say no. Okay. So let's start shifting into gameplay. If this is your first time listening, you can pause here and listen to the Hallmark Movie Drafts intro show first. That's where I go over the rules in more depth and I talk about the format and how vetoes work, all that great stuff. Or you can keep on listening and I'm sure you'll pick it up. Let's talk about eligibility. To be eligible, the movies had to air on Hallmark or Hallmark Movies and Mysteries channel and must feature Brendan Penny. So, but no cameos are allowed. And also the Chesapeake Shores Hallmark series, which aired from 2016 to 2022. He was in 54 episodes of those. We're not including them because Chesapeake Shores is actually going to be a drafting topic in 2026. Yeah, so mark those 2026 calendars that you may or may not have. Maybe by then, Brendan Penny will be on the line. I don't know. There's always hope. So for today, we have 17 eligible movies, and you can see that list on our Instagram and on our Letterboxd, and the links to the HMD socials are in the show notes. Let's talk drafting positions for this match. There are 3 of them, A, B, and C. Drafter C picks positions 10, 7, and 3 on the list. Drafter C gets 1 veto card and 1 veto override card. Drafter B picks positions 9, 6, 4, and 2. And Drafter B only gets 1 veto card because that player gets 1 more chance to get their title onto the list than anybody else. So more positions to make some great maneuvers. And Drafter A picks positions 8, 5, and the number 1 position on the list. Drafter A gets 1 veto card and 1 bonus veto. So this position gets to pick the number 1 movie and basically gets an additional veto card to use. And just as a reminder, Emily, as a returning player, does have a leftover veto override card that she can use in this game, in addition to whatever vetoes come with her drafting position. So how do we determine who goes A, B, or C? That's where Erinbeth and Kate come in. They're going to test the panel's knowledge with a round of trivia questions related to Brendan Penny's movies. But before they do that, they're going to go over the new trivia rules, and then we will get started. The first person to answer the first question correctly gets to choose whether they want to be A, B, or C for their playing position. The second person to answer the next question correctly gets to choose theirs, and then the third person gets whatever is left over. Just keep in mind that when you're choosing your position, it is a double-edged sword, because if you win the trivia round, you will be first up in the veto order in every in every sequence that we play. So that means you're going to be the first to declare whether or not you accept the movie title or if you want to veto it. So there we have it. Okay, Erinbeth and Kate.
All right. Well, if you've listened to the last couple episodes, you know that we've shifted away from using a shout out your answer format to one where you must be recognized by Kate or me before answering. And we are no longer giving clues. If everyone is stumped, we'll just go to a new question. So here are the rules. Number 1, wait until Kate or I have finished asking the question. 2, when we're done speaking and you know the answer, raise your virtual hand and wait to be recognized. And number 3, you must state your answer within 2 seconds of being recognized. If you wait any longer than that, your answer won't be accepted and we'll go on to the next player with a raised hand. Are there any questions? No? Well, then I believe Brendan Penny is on the line with some questions. No? He hung up? Oh, well,
Yeah,
then I
hang up.
guess.
I'm sorry. I have a
Dang
really
it.
spotty phone service here. So I'm so sorry, guys.
In that case, I'll just have to send it on over to Kate with her question number 1.
All right. In A Dash of Love, what is the name of Nikki and Paul's pop-up restaurant? Emily.
Cafe Cupid.
Correct.
That is fantastic. Emily was like fast up in there. So as you know, Emily, now you get to sit back and let Christine and Thaddeaus answer while you decide what drafting position you want to be in. So for question number 2, which Hall star plays Brendan Penny's brother Marco in the Vineyard series? Well, since Emily does not get a chance to answer it again, she wasn't so fast with her hand being raised. Again,
I forgot to lower it. I'm sorry.
Dean, what is your answer?
Marcus Rosner.
Marcus Rosner is correct. So then, Christine, you will choose from the 2 left after Emily chooses her drafting position. And Thaddeus, as always, you will get whatever is left over.
So, Mrs. Walker, what are you thinking for your drafting positions? Do you need me to read the numbers again, or are you all set?
Well, Lynn, I don't. I think I'm all set. As I think this is my 4th time on this show. I've gotten pretty comfortable with drafter B, so I'm going drafter B, please.
So Emily has chosen a drafter B. Yeah. Do you know one more appearance and you reach all-star status? Yeah. That comes with a
Ooh.
That could be happening this year. I don't know.
It will be, right? You're going to do that crazy, the draft I said I would never ever do again.
Yeah, and I don't know why I agreed to it either.
Why did
so.
I don't know either.
I haven't fully recovered yet from Lacey, so I don't know why I'm even here right now.
I don't know. And I said I would never do one again.
It's the 5 Timers Club, like on SNL. I love those.
It is.
I hope I
We'll
get
send you
it.
out a blazer.
No, you know what you'll get? You'll get Brendan Penny on the line for real. That's what you will get. No doubt about it. All right. So Emily has chosen drafter B. So that means that she gets drafting positions 9, 6, 4, and 2. She gets 1 veto card, and she's bringing in a veto override card from a previous match. So she will have 1 of each. So Christine, that leaves you with drafter C, who gets 10, 7, and 3, and drafter A, who gets positions 8, 5, and the number 1. What are you thinking you're going to pick?
I've got to go with A for a couple of reasons. I think there could be a debate about the top 1, 2, 3 positions. And I might need that second veto. So I feel like I should be prepared in position A.
So Christine is putting a lot of strategery, as the legend Jane would say, behind her choice. She's going with A. She gets 8, 5, and 1. She gets 2 vetoes, and that leaves Dr. Thaddeaus as drafter C, who will kick off the list. This is it's a lot of pressure there for number 10. So he'll have 10, 7, and 3. He gets a veto and a veto override. So he's got similar vetoing powers to Emily. So Thaddeaus, whenever you are ready, go ahead and DM me the movie title. that you would like to choose for number 10, and then we will get started. Kate, can you check your phone messages? Do you have a message from Brendan Penny? Is he on the line? Yeah.
Oh, he was, but he dropped off. So
Darn.
yeah,
Darn.
I know. How many times is that going to happen? We all have bad service today, except for our Zooms are working fine.
Zoom is good.
Right.
All
I
right.
just sent it.
I see it. I see Thaddeus's pick for number 10. He has chosen a movie from 2021. It stars Brendan Penny as Paul. Jesse Schramm is Jane. It's time for them to come home for Christmas. During the holidays, a woman with amnesia, Jane, catches a ride with her handsome nurse Paul to investigate the only clue to her identity, a newspaper clipping for a Christmas festival with a cryptic invitation. It is clear why Jane is trying to get to her destination, but why is Paul avoiding his? So Lachlan Monroe is the sheriff. He's in a million Hallmark movies, including playing the ex-husband of Nikki DeLoach in the Curious Caterer mystery series. And Brendan Zub plays Mark in this. He's featured as a lead or as the Baxter in several Hallmark movies. He's actually one of my favorite Baxters. So Thaddeus, tell us why you've chosen Time for Them to Come Home for Christmas as your number 10 choice.
So, so on the lower ones in my top 10 were kind of interchangeable, and there were like a few of these that, you know, they were kind of pleasant watches, but I didn't really have very strong feelings about them one way or the other. And so this one just happened to be there. I thought it was a relatively pleasant movie. You know, I thought that they had nice chemistry together. I enjoyed the story. I liked that he was a nurse, a male nurse. It's, you know, nice to see that kind of representation. And so that's why I went in my number 10 spot.
The great reasons. And I love Jesse Schramm. So it was nice to see her in a role that wasn't as comedic as she usually plays, but it's a good, really good choice. Okay, so Emily, you are first up in the veto order. What do you think about Time for Them to Come Home for Christmas at number 10?
Thaddeus, sir, doctor, what are you thinking? I hate this movie with a passion. I don't like Eddie. There's only one that I can tolerate out of this whole entire Blake Shelton universe. This one, oh gosh. Okay. So I tried to watch it again. I had to shut it 20 minutes off again. This is how much I hate the movie. However, I don't know if I want to get rid of my one veto already. I think he knows what he's doing.
Listeners, that is just laughing hysterically.
Taken one from my book, and I don't know if I'm okay with this. Oh boy, y'all, was like second to last on my list.
Out of the 17. Yeah.
Yeah.
No. What are you going to do, Mrs. Walker?
Oh God.
Do you need to phone a friend? Do we need to get Brendan Penny on the line so you can ask him a question?
I don't think I need Brendan Penny on the line.
That's good because he's not on the line anymore.
I think I'm just gonna let it slide.
Emily's going to let it slide. You know, it was a struggle for her, clearly. Christine, what about you? Are you going to let it slide at number 10?
I'm having a tough time here because I was going to veto it because I think it needs to be higher on the list.
There you go. That's how the game is played.
Are you kidding me? It's
not one bit.
Veto.
No, I really think it needs to be higher on the list. I think it's it's one of his best like chemistry situations. I think he and Jesse are terrific together. It's the only of the time for he, she, it, we, they movies that I can stomach. I love the fact that he's a compassionate male nurse. I love the way that they deal with his grief. I mean, I think there are a lot of reasons that it should be higher on the list.
You have two vetoes. Are you going to use one?
I don't know. Being a beginner here and first one out of the gate, I'm not sure if I want to use it yet. I think I'm going to let it slide because I just got to make sure it's on the list. And I'm based on Emily's face, I'm afraid if I veto it, she's going to come back. So I'm going to let it go.
Well,
Smart choice, Christine, smart choice.
Yes.
well played. Well played, that is. Well played. And well played, Emily, because you made your position very clear. So we will lock that in at number 10, and we will move to Emily sending me her pick for number 9. Kate, what do you think of the he, she, they, it, them, we, us, you, everyone universe of movies?
Yeah, I like to take each of them as their own, since it's not really a through line in those movies, except for the song. And I actually like this one. The only one I like better is the Lacey Stephen Hazar one. This is my number 2 in that series. And yeah, I love a wacky amnesia storyline. I feel like that was something Hallmark relied on a lot back in the day that they don't do as much so often. So it was like a refreshing uh, you know, it was a refreshing move to see them do that again in a more recent movie. So
Yeah. I have Emily's pick for number 9. She has chosen a movie from 2018. Brendan Penny plays Luke. Lacey Chabert is Darcy. It is Pride, Prejudice, and Mistletoe. Darcy has always worked hard to prove herself and be successful on her own terms, even choosing to start her own company rather than work with her father. She returns home for the holidays and helps her mother with planning a charity event, and her life turns upside down when her high school rival and local tavern owner, Luke, helps with the event. This is based on the book by the same name by Melissa Dela Cruz. So, Emily, why do you like Pride, Prejudice, and Mistletoe at number 9 with your girl Lacey?
Well, that's one of the reasons. It's Lacey that needed to be, I feel like she needed to be represented here, even though it's the only movie with her and him in it. Yes, is it a party planning movie? Yes. Does he have, is he like a chef for like the 20th time in one of these movies? Yes. However, I do like their banter. I like how they go back and forth with, being rivals. They were very, they debated a lot in the movie. It's tolerable for I think any of the Jane Austen inspired movies we've ever had here within Hallmark. And I like at the end that she kissed him. Yeah.
Absolutely.
when she
There
just,
you
like,
have it.
when she shut him up with the kiss, that was
Yeah.
great. Loved
That
it.
was really good. Emily, if you could have Brendan Penny on the line or Brendan Penny in the kitchen cooking, which would you choose?
In the kitchen for sure, please.
Okay, Pride, Prejudice, and Mistletoe. Emily is offering up at number 9. So, Christine, you are now first in the veto order since it was Emily's pick. What do you think of this movie at number 9? Do you like it?
I do. It's 9 on my list as well. For a couple of reasons. I had written down the banter. I love the fact that Christmas trees were $15. That stuck with me from the first time I watched it. And then that scene at the White Elephant Party when Brendan Penny has the reindeer headband on. I mean, come on. Yes, this is number 9 on our list for sure.
Christine is fine with it at number 9. What do you say, Thaddeus? What do you think of this movie?
So I actually had this on my list at number 8. So I'm fine with it too. I thought I liked their. I agree. I enjoyed the banter. I enjoyed that it wasn't an ex-boyfriend, that they knew each other in high school as like almost like rivals, and they kind of continued that, and you got to see their relationship change from that, and you didn't have the baggage of an old relationship. So I enjoy when they do something a little bit different, especially for the time when every movie was basically the same. I was like, oh my goodness, something different, because it was another party planning movie and another hotshot deal making woman coming back to her hometown to plan a party. So anything that's different, especially from that particular time when we were watching these movies, is like a major thing. So I felt like it had to be on the list. Plus, it's Lacey, and it's only one where he was with one of the queens. So
Absolutely. Lacey is definitely one of the queens. And honestly, you're right. People have asked me, oh, are you ever going to do a party planning movie? And I'm just like, oh my God, the eligibility list for that would be endless, and no thank you. I don't think I could find people willing to draft that topic. So we have Pride, Prejudice, and Mistletoe offered up by Emily at number 9. That is locked in. And now Christine is going to make her very first pick ever for Hallmark movie draft. She'll send that over in a second. Erinbeth, we are just coming off of February, Lovuary, which Hallmark has blessed us with a Jane Austen month. How do you think this movie compared to some of the offerings that we got this year?
I like to just pretend that it's not supposed to have anything to do with Jane Austen, because it's not a bad movie, and I actually enjoyed this movie. It's fun to watch. Brendan is really funny in it, and like Thaddeus pointed out, I like it when they've known each other before. It really cuts down on this "we fell in love in 2 days" kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, I have Christine's pick for number 8. She has chosen a movie from 2016. Brendan Penny is Nate. Rachel Lee Cook is Frankie. She has chosen Autumn in the Vineyard. This is the first in that 3-film series. Frankie Baldwin and Nate DeLuca were childhood sweethearts, but now as adults, they both have a claim to ownership of Sorrento Farm, and they're forced to divide the vineyard right down the middle and work the fields alongside each other to bring the harvest, leading up to the best wine competition at the annual Autumn Harvest Festival. Will this be settled in the fields? I don't know. Marcus Rosner is Nate's brother Marco. Ali Liebert is in this one as well. It's directed by Scott Smith. And it's interesting to note that as I was watching these 3 movies for this draft, that there's a different director and writing team for every single one of them. So there was not a lot of consistency across the board, which doesn't mean that they were bad. I love this movie. Christine, why do you love this movie at number 8?
I love this movie because I liked the whole series, but I liked this one, the way they kicked it off. I thought the scenery was beautiful in the vineyard. I liked the whole family. I mean, this was a bit of more of an ensemble movie in my mind. I thought the banter between Charles and Carla, I believe was the mom's name. I thought the brothers were funny, Gabe and Marco. I loved this role for Ali Liebert. I wish that she had stayed with the series throughout, because I thought her portrayal of that girl Hannah was a riot, and I wanted more of that. I really wanted to see Marco and Hannah get together through the series, but I'm sure something happened there. But I thought it was a great kickoff to the series. I thought it was quite funny, that scene at the beginning when he shuts her up by kissing her and takes her by surprise. I thought that was really fun and cute in a way. Back in 2016, what a shock to see a kiss so early in the movie, in a funny way to do it. I just thought it was really entertaining, and it belonged on our list, so had to put it out there.
I think it's a great choice. Autumn in the Vineyard at number 8. But will Emily let it stand at number 8? What do you think, Emily?
Y'all are really testing me today. I really like this series a lot. I love Rachel Lee Cook, and rewatching all of these again, I forgot how much I actually really enjoyed this series. I think this deserves to be higher on this ranking, but I'm fine where it is because I feel more secure about what's coming, that I know there's for sure, that I want for sure veto that doesn't deserve to be on this list. So I'm keeping it at 8.
Wow, Emily's gonna let this slide at number 8. Thaddeus, how about you? Are you happy with this one at number 8? Are you a Rachel Lee Cook, Brendan Penny combo fan?
So, to be honest, this is the only one in the series that I actually liked. I actually did like this movie. I liked it quite a bit. And actually, so my thing is, I feel like it deserves to be higher on the list. But with the way that people are talking and they're saying that they love this whole series, I feel like something from another movie from this series may be on the list higher up than it deserves to be, and I can't have that. So I'm going to let this slide.
The doctor is saying, yeah, no, you're going to flatline right here. That's all that's going to happen.
Can we give the llama the #1 spot, please?
Mittens, I love mittens.
I mean, come on.
Autumn in the Vineyard is locked in at number 8. That brings us back to Thaddeaus to send us number 7. Kate, any word from Brendan Penny yet? Is he on the line? Has he been holding?
Yeah, he actually like left because he's so mad this is so low on the list. He hung up because of that. So
Wow.
yeah.
There goes our chance.
I think he retired from acting and everything. It's just terrible. He's so sad.
This is a travesty.
It is a travesty.
I have Thaddeus's pick for number 7. He has chosen a movie from 2015, actually. Brendan Penny is Dean. Sarah Lancaster. We do not see enough of Sarah Lancaster. Sarah Lancaster is Beth. It is 'Tis the Season for Love. Beth is an out-of-work actress stuck in New York City with her friends at Christmas. She decides to return home to the quaint small town she left 10 years before and finds a place far different than the hamlet she left. She suddenly finds performing possibilities and even romance that kind of blow her away. Will the holidays prove to be as magical for Beth as they appear, or is it doomed to disappear as quickly as it arrived for a lady who is ready to take chances she could never have imagined a decade before? This is directed by Terry Ingram, one of my favorite Hallmark directors. That is, why do you love 'Tis the Season for Love at number 7?
Okay, so this one actually is a bit more like a personal reason. So I really identified with Sarah Lancaster's character because she was someone who everyone in her small town had believed that she was going to be this huge success, but she was struggling to get traction in her acting career in New York. And at that time, I was in medical school and I had like a really difficult time transitioning. And, there were times I wasn't really sure if I was going to make it through. And I also identified with, people back home, like everybody was like, oh, you're going to be a doctor, you're so smart or whatever. And then coming home and trying to like put on a happy face when I was really struggling. So I really got like what she went through and then seeing her journey into like kind of figuring out other definitions of success. And so that was why I ended up, like I said, identified with her character. I thought that she and Brendan Penny had pretty good chemistry. His character, it was more just about her, and he was kind of like in for the, like kind of just there for the journey or whatever. But I liked seeing her growth and her, and like I said, her kind of be changing her definition of what it meant to be successful. And it wasn't that she just gave up her dream. It was really that her dream changed. So, which was different for 2015. So that's why I have it on this list at this position.
That's a great reason. When were you able to turn the page on your medical studies to kind of feel reinvigorated to continue? Because it's such a long process. Those are years of work.
Yeah. So for me, actually, it was when I transitioned from the thing that happened for me was the way that I'd previously studied was just not effective in medical school. I had to like relearn how to study. And I didn't really like completely gain my confidence back until I transitioned into the mainly the clinical portion where you're doing your clinical rotations, but you also have to do like exams after each one. And I was passing them all, thankfully, the first time, and then and then all the steps of the USMLE. So I was slowly able to gain my confidence during that time. So yeah.
So those are wise words and great advice and pro tips from for everyone that's going through, advanced degrees, medical degrees, whether it's a lawyer or whatever. So it's a long journey. It takes a lot of dedication, and you are helping a lot of people. So I'm glad you stuck with it. So we have "'Tis the Season" offered up at number 7. So Emily, I challenge you to veto that after that story and that sharing.
I know. I mean, how can you veto Thaddeaus after that
You
explanation?
can't.
Man, that's tough shoes to follow. So this is his first movie as a leading guy in Hallmark. So I do think we need to point that out. I really do like Sarah Lancaster, and when she came back around, this was actually the second time that he was actually in the movie with Sarah Lancaster, because he was in a different one as well. I like how it was very easy for them, I feel like, to talk through this and have those conversations. This was actually on my list at number 9. So I'm completely fine with this at 7. I think I watched this years ago, and then I watched it again just the other day, and I thought it did deserve to be on the list. So Thaddeus, you get this one as well, sir.
No, there have been no vetoes thrown yet. I don't know. Christine, what do you think of "'Tis the Season" at number 7?
I love this movie. I actually had it a couple spots higher on my list, so I'm fine with it at 7. I thought this, what was this, 2015, 16? This was ahead of its time with the adults having adult conversations. I thought there was some really good dialogue in this movie. The way that the two leads kind of talk through their respective current situations, their past high school days, and then when they were planning for their future. I mean, it almost made it believable that they could fall for each other in such a short period of time, thanks to some of those good conversations that they had. And I don't know that I appreciated it at the time, but when I went back and rewatched it last weekend, the light bulb went off, and I thought, oh, this is kind of revolutionary for Nina Weinman back then. I really enjoyed this movie. And I also like the fact that there wasn't a bitter relationship with her ex-boyfriend and his wife, that they were friendly and adults and kind of cleared the air and moved on, and they became good friends. It was really nice. Yeah, I thought it was a good one. I think it definitely deserves a spot on our list.
Well played, Thaddeus. You've locked that one in at number 7. "'Tis the Season," and as Emily pointed out, like his first Hallmark leading role. So that will bring us to, you guys are just flying right through this. That'll bring us to number 6 with Emily sending me over her pick. Kate, what do you think of "'Tis the Season"? Do you like this movie?
I do, yeah. I think it was like a really good introduction to Brendan Penny as a Hall star. And like Nina Weinman was brought up, I just think she finds a way to take these Hallmark tropes and make them better. Her scripts are always some of the best. Like if you listen to the Palaha draft, I stood real high on Double Holiday, which is just the tropiest of tropey movies, but the script is so good. She's a great writer, and I'm glad this movie's on the list.
I totally agree about her talents. So let's do a quick recap. We have at number 10, "Time for Them to Come Home for Christmas." At 9, "Pride, Prejudice, and Mistletoe." At 8, "Autumn in the Vineyard." At 7, "'Tis the Season." And at number 6, Christine is offering up a movie from 2022.
It's me, not Christine.
Oh, I'm so sorry. What did I should say that. I'm so sorry. Emily is offering up a movie from 2022. Brendan Penny is Adam. Patty Murrin is Darcy. It's "In Merry Measure." When pop star Darcy returns home to spend Christmas with her sister and niece, she helps her niece start a caroling group. When her niece doesn't make the high school team, Darcy soon unexpectedly finds herself working with her one-time rival, Adam. This is Brendan in Glasses, which just had many of us panting. Okay. What say you, Emily?
Well, you mentioned one of my recents, it's Brendan Penny in Glasses. This movie gives me Glee vibes. I was a big fan of Glee. So like whenever there's like some sort of like a competition in music, I am there for it. Jennifer Robinson's in it, so I'm also like thrilled that she was able to come back and to do one of these movies. Patty Murin, I adore. I love her. I think it feels like an old school like Hallmark movie in some ways, but I really like it. The dancing and their back. One of my favorite scenes is them dancing off stage during the competition. And I feel like we got to see a little bit more Brennan. Like that was like, he has now finally broken out of his shell. And I feel like this was one of his movies that we actually got to see him at. And this movie also takes place in Ohio, so we know how we feel about Ohio. And she made it back in time, a one-day trip to New York City, and she got the record deal. And they got put together with love. So there you have it.
She was highly accomplished. The trip back from New York in one day was actually spectacular. So I think maybe she might have had Brendan Penny on the line reading his Waze directions to her. I'm not sure, but I'm sure he was co-piloting her in some way. All right, Christine, it's up to you. In Merry Measure at number 6. Gonna let it slide? What do you think?
Well, remember when I said that I was going to take the drafter A spot because I thought I might need those vetoes?
Yes.
The time has come. Emily, what are you doing playing this? I mean, obviously you're trying to get us to work through our vetoes or, burn through them. Brendan Penny and glasses. Let me just repeat back what you said. Brendan Penny and glasses. The Glee, all the high school song choral group. I love this movie and it definitely needs to be higher. It is an old school Hallmark movie, but this cast elevates it. And I just think we need to reconsider where this ends up on our list.
So Christine has thrown out the very first veto. It has taken us all the way to number 6, but Thaddeaus has a veto override. Thaddeaus, you can override Christine's veto and lock it in at number 6, or you can just let her veto slide and we will take it out of this position. What do you think?
So I was going to say, I was hoping that she was going to veto it because this definitely deserves to be higher on the list. Yeah, I see what you're doing, Mrs. Walker, and again, it's not going to slide. And I'm just glad that I didn't have to do it. I'm definitely not overriding this. This definitely needs to go higher on the list, and it will be higher on the list. So,
so Thaddeaus,
yeah.
I took one for the team here.
Yes.
If she pulls this stuff again later, I'm counting on you to pull one of your vetoes out.
That's fine. It's fine.
It's fine.
Not the first time I've been vetoed, so it's fine.
You're welcome.
You are well experienced in being vetoed and in throwing vetoes as well. So no sympathy here from anybody, but it sounds like there might be a little sidebar partnership going on between Christine and Thaddeaus to do some maneuvering in the top half of the list.
Well, she's got a lot more experience than we do, so we got to band together.
That doesn't always necessarily impact the list, especially when you have two people like you and Thaddeaus working together on this. I think you might be in sync. Emily is thinking very hard at what her replacement pick is going to be for number 6. So I have Emily's pick, Mrs. Walker's pick for her replacement for number 6. She has chosen a movie. Emily, I don't know what you're up to here, Emily. She has chosen a movie from 2023. Brendan Penny is Paul. Stacey Farber is Maddie. It's A Season for Family. Maddie's adopted son, Wesley, has just one Christmas wish: to meet his brother, who was adopted into a different family. They travel home to Park City, Utah for Christmas, where they meet Paul and his son, Cody. Paul is a widower and has put his romantic life on hold. Could Cody and Paul be the family Wesley and Maddie are looking for? This movie is directed by Kevin Fair. There is going to be a Kevin Fair draft in 2026. Edward Ruddle stars as Paul's friend / business partner, Jeremy. And he's the Hall star that always gives me Leonardo DiCaprio vibes. So That's what I have to say about A Season for Family. Emily, what do you have to say about A Season for Family at number 6?
Well, considering some people's faces right now on this Zoom, I feel like I may be the only one that feels like this deserves a spot somewhere on the list.
You and Brian Harold.
I
No,
wasn't going to say
don't
it,
ever
Kate.
put me on the same list as Bride Harold. No,
I
no,
was not good. That was my first thought.
no.
Sorry.
Okay, so here's the thing. Yes, I know there's plot hole issues. Yes, but I like to see Brennan as a dad, and I think he does that very well. I don't think him and like Stacey had like a lot of chemistry, and I feel like that was a storyline we didn't really need. But I liked the storyline of bringing a family together. Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay. Should I get Brendan Penny on the line to give you more reason?
Sure, if you want. I mean, he agreed to do the movie in the first place, so.
All right, it's all on him. He agreed to the movie in the first place. No, there were some really interesting choices in this movie for sure. Christine, save us. What are you going to do with A Season for Family? But actually, you do have one veto left. You could deploy it.
I am not going to use my veto on this one. One, I feel like I'm going to need it as we go on, but I liked this movie. And it's funny, the first time I watched this movie, I couldn't even finish it. I didn't like it so much. And then I went back to watch it for this. And maybe when I'm not watching it in the holiday season, when there's so many coming out all at the same time, I don't know, I saw it through a different lens. I enjoyed it more. And also watching all the Brendan Penny movies in order and sort of focusing more on him. I really liked his character in this. I agree with Emily. I don't think we needed the romance storyline with whatever her name is, Rosie or Maddie. But he plays a widowed dad really well. So I'm okay with it.
All right. Christine is okay with it. Thaddeaus, are you okay with this?
Actually, yes. I had this in my list at number 5. So it actually, for me, actually, I did not like it the first time that I saw it, but the rewatch, I was strangely like, okay, I kind of understood. I mean, it may note it was what he was going about it. He was making the wrong decision, but I understood his motives and where he was coming from. I mean, and I agree that the chemistry wasn't like completely there, but then they didn't really have them on screen much. And I enjoyed his family union and like her and their different individual issues, and the brothers that didn't know if they were brothers coming together and kind of both of them being in their shells but connecting with each other. I thought that was nice. And so yeah, like I said, I did not like this movie the first time that I saw it, but on the rewatch, for whatever reason, I liked it a lot more. So I'm fine with it in this position.
Thaddeus is fine with this at number 6. So we have got, here's the state of the list. Time for Them to Come Home for Christmas at number 10. At 9, Pride, Prejudice, and Mistletoe. At 8, Autumn in the Vineyard. At 7, 'Tis the Season. At 6, we have just locked in A Season for Family. We are moving into the top half of the list. Do you guys need a break at all? You've been moving really quickly. Want a break or keep going? Keep going? All right, we're going to keep going.
Break.
Oh, break?
Yeah.
Okay, break.
I think some people may need refills on their drinks.
Yes.
I was going to say, I need to go pour a glass of wine. You guys are making me thirsty.
Yes. Please join us.
Yeah, I might have to join you too.
Very
I'm worried about the top half. Okay, so that brings us to number 5. Christine has sent me her pick for position number 5. She's chosen a movie from 2019. Brendan Penny is Nate. Rachel Lee Cook is Frankie. It's the third in the movie franchise. It's Valentine in the Vineyard. So Frankie and Nate have been able to bridge the Baldwin DeLuca winery's family feud. Frankie and Nate get engaged despite the pressures of their recent expansion of Sorrento Winery. But before they can share the news, right, Nate's brother Marco, played by Marcus Rosner, proposes to Frankie's cousin and will get married in 4 weeks. Frankie and Nate keep their engagement a secret, but they quickly start to believe that they may not be meant for each other. Christine, are they meant for each other? Are they going to get married in this movie? I wonder. Why do you like this one at number 5?
I like this one at number 5 because, as I've already established, I like the series as a whole, but I thought a couple things make this better than the last one. The chemistry and the relationship has developed between Nate and Frankie, and I think that is a little bit more believable in the way these things go. But I think that Nate seems more comfortable in his skin in this role, and I like the banter that he has with his brother Gabe when they're doing the secret organic gardening seminar. I love those conversations, and I want Gabe to have his own movie. I want Gabe's story next because I thought he was really funny. The other thing that I think really adds to this movie, we've got a new writer, so we've got some really fun, quippy dialogue, and Terrell Rothery's character as the mother of the other bride is fantastic. Like on the rewatch, I really paid attention to her and some of her little comments, especially to her brother. They really made it for me. I thought that was fun. Of course, Mittens the llama is back, so Mittens gets a vote for sure. And here's the other thing. This is so shallow, but I love the wardrobe in this one. I thought that Rachel Lee Cook had some really cute, like cozy sweaters and vests. Like it was definitely cold when they filmed. I thought Brendan Penny, I mean, come on, always looks great, but he had a really nice wardrobe. The first one, he was wearing clothes that didn't match what he was doing necessarily. Like he was dressed to go to the office, yet he was working in the field. This one, I think it was more of a fit. So I just really enjoyed this. The only thing I'll say is I wish that Marco had married Hannah, Allie Liebert from the first movie. I would have liked to have seen that progression. But other than that, I think this is a great one and a nice way to end the series. So that's why it's my number 5.
I'm so glad that you mentioned the writing team because Rick Garman is one of the co-writers on this, and I know this sounds so silly, I'm saying it again, but there is going to be a Rick Garman draft coming up because his movies, he wrote last year's Christmas on Cherry Lane. You guys like that one? It was really more the story about the house and the history of the house and the different families that lived there. And he also wrote Notes of Autumn too. So I think his portfolio, his filmography is really a great content for an HMD draft coming up. So wonderful pick. Valentine in the Vineyard at number 5 by Christine. Emily, what do you think of this movie at number 5?
Brendan Penny's on the line from Sorrento Vineyard, and he says yes to this.
Yay.
I also had this on my list as well. I really adore his proposal in this movie. I thought it was one of the better ones we've ever seen within Hallmark. It was really sincere. I feel like he did it at the right time. I like just how you said, Christine, they progressed during this and they really have like a really good chemistry. I think the best out of all 3 of the movies. Yeah.
I think it's good. And I'm so glad that Brendan Penny was on the line from Sorrento to fill you in on that information because that looks like an awesome vineyard. And Kate, I'll get to you after we hear from Thaddeaus as to whether or not he likes this movie at number 5 because I know that you live in the vineyard adjacent area, so I'm curious to know what you think. So Thaddeaus, what do you think of Valentine in the Vineyard at number 5?
So I did like this one more than the second one, but I did not. I mean, the whole conflict with that whole like quiz and how they were going to let that be the like defining moment in their whole relationship. And then they're like, oh, we can't tell anybody that we're engaged because I mean, it was very annoying. I did like Gabe and his little side story, and it was what I forgot the name of the actor, and I think it was Stephanie Bennett, who I really like her, so I really liked their little side story, and and like I said, I enjoyed this more than the second movie. However, I did not. So I think I have this down at like number 11 or 12 or something. So but I think that I'm going to save my one veto for something higher. So I'm going to let this slide, but y'all are lucky that I don't have an extra veto.
Thank you, Thaddeus.
Thank you, sir.
Thaddeus is giving a sympathy slide, just letting it
Look,
go.
I didn't say it was perfect. It's at 5. It's not at 1.
But having this higher than the first one, okay.
Yeah, okay.
I'm very, very curious on Thaddeus' list, and I cannot wait to hear the end of this.
Oh, I know, me too.
I know. This is going to be great. And
I
speaking of,
think he's the complete opposite from both of me and Christine, so this is going to be very interesting.
yeah, I forgot to mention at the top of the show that Erinbeth and Kate and I have a side hustle where we're trying to get as many of the picks that we had on our personal list to see how it meshes with your guys' final list. So I'm not going to tip my hand at this point, but I'll just say I don't think I'll be winning. So there's that. All right, Emily, why don't you go ahead and send me your pick at number 4. I'm going to do a quick recap of the list. We have Time for Them to Come Home for Christmas at 10, Pride, Prejudice, and Mistletoe at 9, Autumn in the Vineyard at number 8, 'Tis the Season at 7, A Season for Family at 6. We just locked in Valentine in the Vineyard at 5. And while I'm waiting for Emily's pick, Kate, you love to go to the vineyards in California. You're sort of vineyard adjacent, I think. What did you think of the Sorrento farm when you saw the vineyards in the movie?
I mean, I gave away at the beginning of the episode, these are some of the movies that got me into Hallmark, or these wine ones. I grew up in Santa Barbara County, the beautiful Central Coast wineries, which has just grown so much. Like if you've ever seen that movie Sideways, that's where I grew up. It's like, yeah, so I love watching that movie because it was filmed like the year after I graduated high school. So now it's kind of like a flashback for me of like my childhood. So these wine movies are so special to me. A couple things I was gonna point out. I like to watch in these movies who holds their wine glasses correctly. Rachel Lee Cook was all over the place. She did it right and did it wrong, back and forth. Brendan Penny was really good about it. He was always holding his wine glass correctly. And then the final thing, I was looking for my wine pairing for this. I ended up just going with what I already had, but I was searching online for a long time yesterday if anywhere in the greater Orange County area had wine from the Okanagan Valley, which is where these movies were filmed. It's up in British Columbia, and there's a chance I might be going to visit it soon. So I'm gonna just be living my Valentine in the Vineyard life soon.
Wow.
So, yeah.
You're getting big applause from everybody here.
Yay.
But yeah, I love these movies. I'm glad 2 of them ended up making the list. They should be way higher, but I'll take what I
Well,
can.
you'll have to shoot some video while you're up there. Report from the vineyards. All right.
Sure.
I have Emily's pick for number 4. She has chosen a movie from 2020. Brendan Penny is Andrew. Erin Cahill is Kelly. It's The Secret Ingredient. Small-town baker Kelly gets a big surprise when she's invited to compete on a Valentine's Day baking show in New York City. And an even bigger surprise when she runs into her ex-fiancé, Andrew, in New York. Little do they know they're both contestants on the Valentine's Day bake-off. But what will happen when Andrew leaves for Paris at the end of the competition? Emily, why do you like The Secret Ingredient? It's Brendan cooking, baking, back in the kitchen, not on the line, but back in the kitchen.
Well, I think he has it in his clause somewhere that he has to do one food movie a year. But other than that,
I wish it was in his contract that he has to be on the line for some show. It doesn't have to be this one, but at some point when someone says Brendan Penny is on the line, it would be lovely if he shows up, if it's for the guys on the Deck the Hallmark podcast or anywhere else. But Brendan Penny on the line needs to be on the line. Sorry to interrupt.
No, that's okay. Yes, Lynn, I kind of agree there with you. So I love food competition shows. I watch them all the time on the Food Network. We also have Manit Chohan who's in it, who is like a TOC champion for you guys. And if everybody watches Food Network, I see some, yes. And I've been to a restaurant. She's fantastic. Love her. Anyways, besides that, Erin Cahill's in this. Love her so much. I had the pleasure of meeting her, and she is just so sweet. I love how the assistants are pulling the strings in this. Like they're getting side hustled by their assistants to be on their show and bringing them together. And I really like that. Because it's like the parents are the best friends and all of that. I really like how they were able to come back together. She was able to take over her parents' restaurants. This movie has been like shown like 5 times in the past like month. But overall, I just really like this, and anybody who eats cheesecake in New York has an A+ in my vote.
Cheesecake in New York? Yes, absolutely. Actually, have you eaten cheesecake when you go down to the Christmas cons in New Jersey, right next door to Manhattan?
I have eaten cheesecake in New York, and it is delightful, especially after a show at night.
Nice. Perfect. Perfect. All right. The secret ingredient at number 4 is what Mrs. Walker is throwing down. Christine, are you going to throw down a veto? You're going to let this one slide.
I'm going to let this one slide. It was on my list. It wasn't quite this high simply because I am not a fan of competition, like reality competition shows. So that was a tough haul for me, but I like Erin Cahill very much. I love Amy Groening, I think is her last name, who plays the best friend. And she was also in the Santa Summit this year and Miracle at Bethlehem, PA. I think she's fantastic. I love the dog George, so cute. I like the fact that they talked through their situation. Yeah, again, adult conversation works for me. So I'm going to let it go. But the cooking thing was tough.
Do you like to cook in real life?
I do. I just don't want to watch the competition on television. I like watching like Ina Garten. I can watch all day. I like watching cooks, chefs prepare things, but the competition thing is not really my bag.
Competition's not your bag. All right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you're competing here today. So
Yes.
maybe movie
I was just going to say, you realize this is a competition, Christine.
I'm in it. I'm not watching it.
Got it.
Watching the cooking competition show is my issue. Well, I'm here. Don't worry.
So you would do the Great Race with me, or Survivor you would do with me if we were contestants. No,
I would not. I'm sorry.
not that level of competition. I got it. All right. Christine's gonna.
But thanks for asking.
Well, I wasn't technically asking. It was like a hypothetical. So Christine threw down the secret ingredient. Emily threw it down, and Christine is letting it slide. So that means it is up to you, Thaddeus. You have a veto and a veto override. What do you think of this movie at number 4? Do you like competitions, cooking competitions?
So I like competitions. This movie, I actually do like this movie. I have it on my list. It's not quite this high, but I'm willing to. So I'm going to let it slide because I want, at least since it's on my list, I at least want to keep it there. So I have a point or something. So I'm good with this. Well, I'm okay with it.
You're okay with it?
Yeah.
All right. Well, you guys, this brings us to the top 3, the final 3. Thaddeus, you're going to kick it off by sending me your choice for number 3. Erinbeth, what did you think of the secret ingredient? Do you prefer Brendan in the kitchen, Brendan on the line, or Brendan in a baking competition?
Of all the movies where Brendan wears a red chef's coat and cooks or bakes, I believe this is the best one. This was the movie I was talking about. That was the last one I watched that slid into number 1. Everything Christine said, just take it and flip it. I just really adored it.
Kate, do you have thoughts on this movie?
I feel like I have to
No, none.
step in. It doesn't matter what my thoughts are because the list is the list, but I have to speak on the other side of this movie. This is my number 15 out of 15. I think Brendan Penny and Cahill are great. They're Hallmark legends. They can all the scenes where they're together are great. I do not think that the cooking competition format translates to these movies. I think those scenes fall so flat in this movie. If they could like somehow lift that up and change, I mean, then you wouldn't get like the Manit like cameo and everything, but this movie, it was the worst rewatch for me of all 15. I feel like I have to, I love Brendan Penny so much. I feel horrible, but you guys are all like heaping so much praise on this. I feel like someone has to show the other side.
That explains why when Kate saw my list, she
Yeah.
said, I am so surprised.
I was like, very different list.
Wow,
That's what makes it fun.
I can't wait for us all to compare notes on that. You mentioned cameos, as in movie cameos, but I think the only way for us to get Brendan Penny on the line is to sign up and ask for pay for a cameo, because he's very popular doing the cameo ones. So maybe there's a Brendan Penny on the line cameo coming up. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But for now, I have Thaddeus's final pick in the match. He has position number 3, and he is offered up a movie from 2017 where Brendan is Paul, Jane Lilly is Nikki. It's A Dash of Love. Aspiring chef Nikki lands a dream job at her idol's restaurant. She befriends the handsome executive chef, Paul, where they spend time in the kitchen together. Their boss fires them both to protect her secret that she is stealing Nikki's recipes. The duo decides to open their own pop-up restaurant to prove that their food is better and see if love is also on the menu. Perry Gilpin from the TV series Frasier is in this as well. She plays like the recipe stealing chef. Thaddeus, I can't believe we're already at number 3 and this is your final pick. It's been such a blast. Why do you like this movie in the 3rd position?
I really enjoyed it. I think I really like his chemistry with Jen Lilly. I like that they had an actual villain, someone actually doing something like really like bad, and and there were actual stakes with them, like just women like accuse them of stealing her recipes, and then they did try to make her a little more sympathetic by showing that she was like desperate to make her investor happy by and keep her restaurant open. But I mean, it was I always love an actual villain, and she was pretty cunning with the way that she went about it, which I like that too. I didn't really like. One of the things that kind of stood out to me the first time I watched it was like Jen Lilly almost like looking down at people who went to culinary school was weird, but but the second time I didn't focus on it as much, and well, not second time because I watched this movie several times, but in subsequent watches, it didn't bother me as much. So yeah, it's one of my favorites. It's one of the ones on here that I actively like quite a bit and have watched multiple times. So I definitely felt like it deserved a spot in the top of the list, for me at least.
So I love what you had to say about, Hallmark having sort of this actual villain. She was really sort of very deceptive about this. And I know that you and I have a mutual love of these wonky, crazy Lifetime movies. And all I can think of is the ending would be so different. Same storyline, but
Yeah.
totally different ending on Lifetime. True or false?
Oh, she would have been trying to kill them. Yeah.
That knife is not just used for cutting meat. I
Yeah.
mean, there's so many other uses for that big knife you have. Great choice. Great choice. A Dash of Love at number 3. Emily, what are you thinking about A Dash of Love for number 3?
So I am not like the biggest Jen Lilly fan. although I like her in this movie. Everything that she makes, I want to eat. We get our dear friend Antonio Cayon in this movie, which I have to call out. Brendan did 3 movies in 2017, and I thought Thaddeaus was going to mention another one from 2017 at the number 3 spot. And if so, he was going to take my veto away from me. But this is actually number 3 on my list. So I'm so very happy with this. And I really like how in the end they are really good in the kitchen, it seems like. And it was just a happy ending. And I really do like the fact that like he was able to reconcile with his dad in this movie as well. I thought that was pretty special because strained relationships can be hard, but like you have 2 successful people and then they're finally coming together. So I'm very happy with this at number 3.
So you're happy with this at number 3. It's a 2017 movie. You mentioned that Brendan did 3 of them. So we know this is 1, and we know that Summer in the Vineyard with Rachel A. Cook, from that franchise, is the second one. So I'm guessing that the one that you would have thrown a veto against would have been Magical Christmas Ornaments with...
I don't know, Lynn. We'll have to find out whenever we get done with this. I mean, this,
with Jessica Lowndes,
your
who
favorite
I
person
just
in this whole entire
adore. It's
More
so...
to come. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
All right, so Mrs. Walker is letting A Dash of Love rest at number 3. So Christine, it's up to you. What do you think of this movie at number 3? You gonna let it slide? Do we need to get Brendan Penny on the line to help you make a decision?
That might help. That might help. It's not that high on my list. I will say that, but I think I'm okay with it.
You're okay with it?
Yeah, because when I look at the rest of my list, and what we have left to play, I get a little concerned if I were to veto it, what might come in its place. So
yeah, and
I'm
you
okay
have
with it.
You have the number 1 too. So
yes,
good thinking. Good
yes.
thinking.
So I'm okay with it. I had it at number 12. But listening to what everyone's saying about it, I'm like, oh, maybe I should reconsider.
You might...
I guess where I struggled was I felt like they were lacking in chemistry in that role, in that one.
Oh, he and Jen Lilly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I loved Roz from Frasier. That was a great character for her.
He did really well. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I love that series too.
He was mean. Mean.
Playing against type. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We have locked in A Dash of Love at number 3. So Emily, Mrs. Walker is going to send me her final pick in the game at number 2. So a quick recap. We have Time for Them to Come Home for Christmas at 10. Pride, Prejudice, and Mistletoe at 9. Autumn in the Vineyard at 8. At 7, 'Tis the Season. At 6, A Season for Family. At 5, Valentine in the Vineyard. At 4, The Secret Ingredient. At 3, A Dash of Love. And at number 2, Emily has offered up a movie from 2023. Brendan Penny is Evan. Erin Krakow is Vanessa. It's The Wedding Cottage. A wedding guide creator, Vanessa promises a special wedding cottage to a couple when she quickly finds out that the wedding cottage has been out of commission for some time. I don't think Vanessa's doing her job then. Vanessa must convince Evan, an uninspired artist and the owner of the wedding cottage, to renovate the rundown cottage to host the contest winning couple for their dream wedding. This one is also directed by Terry Ingram. Okay, Emily, why The Wedding Cottage at number 2?
Well, Lynn. So the older and more distinguished Brendan gets, the more I like him. Thank you, Christine. Yes. Okay.
Christine is fanning herself.
This is why I wore my dear husband's shirt today, because he is so freaking
Benjamin, Brendan Penny's on the line and he's feeling a little uncomfortable right now. So.
You know what? That's okay. I adore this movie, and ever since, I think this is one of my like top 5 movies from last year. Like I said, and I can't remember what pick it was at this point in this draft.
I wonder why. Is Brenda
He
Penny on
is
the line by any
getting more
chance?
comfortable and in his roles, I feel like in Hallmark, and I feel like you see that a lot in this movie. I love how he is making the groom who's getting married more comfortable in this setting. He steps in and has a really nice conversation with him. He saves it at the end with dancing with Aaron Krakow. He is a great artist. Sure, he's a great artist. Is the sculpture that he does. If you guys can't see me, I'm in air quotes, but like he really does a great job. Aaron Krakow is actually, I think this is one for her second movie that I actually found her a little bit more looser too. The other one was the one that I know a lot of people don't like with her and Tyler, When It Was Always You, but I loved her in this one. They have some really great scenes. The not the snowblower scene. I'm sorry. The leaf blower scene is great. There's so much kissing in this movie. And I mean, I would more than happy go to the wedding cottage and see him any day.
Oh, Mr. Walker is on the line now.
I mean, you know, that's what I have, folks. And knowing what is still going to probably pan out, it's had to be on the list in the spot that this is in.
Mrs. Walker has played The Wedding Cottage at number 2. It's her final pick for this match. Christine, do you agree that The Wedding Cottage should be number 2 on this final list?
My first notes on this one are hot, hot, hot. So yes, I love this movie. And I gotta say, I think the story is very like average Hallmark. The story is nothing special other than what Emily already talked about, how he makes the groom feel comfortable in the dance sequence. I thought that was really nice. But the chemistry between Brendan Penny and Aaron Krakow is great. I love that character that he plays, kind of this tortured, frustrated artist. I think he does that really well. And then there are some moments like the dancing scene, off the charts, hot. And how about she invites him up for a nightcap? I mean, hello, new Hallmark. Love that.
Yes. Thank you, Christine, for mentioning that. I forgot that. Yes.
I am all for that. That was great. I thought that I could do without the hijinks of them like distracting the bride and groom, but I can look the other way. I can look the other way in this case. Yeah, I really enjoyed this movie. I think number 2 is a great spot for scruffy Brendan Penny.
Christine loves scruffy Brendan Penny at number 2, tortured artist Brendan Penny at number 2. Thaddeaus, what do you think of The Wedding Cottage at number 2? Is it going to stay there?
So I quite enjoyed this movie. I really enjoyed the chemistry, and I actually agree with what Mrs. Walker said about this being one of Aaron Krakow's better like movie performances. I mean, and I think most people agree she was really good in It Was Always You. It's just that the content and like the themes were what people didn't enjoy as much, and not necessarily her performance. But yeah, this movie, like, and I kind of agree. It's kind of pretty standard Hallmark, but they kind of increase the heat level a little bit. And also I have to say, I really liked Brendan Penny's so his character's reaction to her coming to his house just out of nowhere. He's like, leave, and he closes the door and just ignores her. And I love that. Because a lot of times, people, you have everybody's nice and everybody just, it's like, oh, okay, I guess, y'all just do this. And he was like, no. And it was a hard no. It wasn't like a no. It was a very emphatic, like, no. And I love when people say no in Hallmark movies, because that it's like, I don't know if people are just, I don't know if it's just too mean to say no to someone, but So I always love that. And actually, I had this at number 2 on my list. So I am going to keep it.
Wow. Way to go. Way to go. We have locked in the Wedding Cottage at number 2. I think you're right. Not a lot of people say no, Thaddeus, in these movies, or they say no with like an no, like with an upspeak, or they back down right away. But he kept pushing that no. I mean, it's kind of, this is a bold move. Not only do I want you to let people get married here, but oh yeah, all these renovations need to be made, and it's gonna inconvenience you greatly. But
The other thing too, Lynn, is in the end, he paid for the renovation
Yeah.
when he didn't want anything to do with it.
can we
He
get
was in
Brendan Penny on the
love.
line to ask him about that? Because that's just not right. That is just not right.
I'll pick up the line of Brendan Penny's on it.
Oh my gosh. Yes, absolutely. Well, Christine, while we're trying to figure out if Brendan Penny is on the line, send me your pick for number 1.
Dare I say, is Brendan Penny the George Clooney of Hallmark?
Oh, heck
Only
yeah.
gets better with age.
Oh.
That
Oh,
is
he
a
is aging
perfect
well.
You
comparison.
know what? Here's the thing. I kind of agree with you with that because I didn't
Mhm.
really like him a lot until last year because of this movie
Or the glasses, maybe.
or the glasses.
Yeah.
It's the way his eyes crinkle when he looks at his leading lady. Like he gets this little smile on his face and his eyes crinkle up. And Brendan Penny is not just on the line, he's like at the door delivering. Let me tell you.
DoorDash Brendan Penny.
And he's
That
also good with kids, I noticed in the rewatch, because I watched a couple where he was the widowed
yes.
dad. And I like
Mhm.
the way he relates to the kids. He doesn't
Mhm.
talk to them like
Yeah, you can
children.
tell
I
he's
mean,
a dad in real life. And
yeah, you can tell he's a dad.
and I think it's because his persona, I think what he likes to do, he likes to be a little snarky. And old Hallmark was not like allowing him to like, do that the way, and commit to it as much as he would have liked to have been able to. And I think they've let him do that a little bit more in under the new regime.
Yeah.
I
agree.
agree with that too. And I also feel like he's a little bit more mysterious now because he's not that active on social. He doesn't do a lot of interviews. So I feel like he's also like as a person as a whole, I feel like he also protects his time and he's really cognizant of what he does. And I feel like that's starting to show in his movies.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, he's knows his brand, he's carved it out, and that's what he's going to stick with. And we are all the better for it. So
Yes.
this is great.
I hope he's
All
on
right.
the tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, exactly. I wish he was on the line. Okay, I have Christine's final pick. She has the number 1 choice. So we have at number 10, Time for Them to Come Home for Christmas. At 9, Pride, Prejudice, and Mistletoe. At 8, Autumn in the Vineyard. At 7, 'Tis the Season. At 6, A Season for Family. These are getting to be tongue twisters, I'm not going to lie. At 5, Valentine in the Vineyard. At 4, The Secret Ingredient. At 3, A Dash of Love. At 2, The Wedding Cottage. And at number 1, Christine has offered up a movie from 2022. Brendan Penny is Adam. Patty Murrin is Darcy. We've talked about this before. It's In Merry Measure. So this is the one where Darcy's this pop star. She returns home to spend Christmas with her sister and her niece. She starts a caroling group because her niece didn't make the choir. It's Brendan Penny in glasses. Christine, tell us about this. Good luck. I'm keeping my fingers crossed for you. Why does In Merry Measure deserve to be number 1?
I'm not really sure why I even need to have to defend this one, but I'm going to go with Brendan Penny in glasses. That's my kickoff. No, I think this is fun. As we discussed before, the story itself is nothing revolutionary, but the cast really elevates this one. I think Jennifer Robertson from Schitt's Creek is perfect as Patty Murrin's sister. I love the relationship between those two and the one-liners that they fire back and forth to each other. I think the football coach, Rick, is a riot with all of his football metaphors. and the fact that Celine Dion was his favorite concert or his first concert, and he gets like all emotional talking about it. I mean, there's just so much to love about this movie. And then that dance at the end that we talked about before that I'm guessing is an outtake. I don't know, but thank goodness it stayed in. I love it. I could watch it over and over again. It makes me laugh out loud every time. It's just a heartwarming, fun. I mean, this is what we come to Hallmark for, right? Is like an hour and 20 minutes of feel good and a little romance thrown in. I thought it was great. I thought it was a lot of fun. The Home Alone face, I mean, I could go on, but I think it
Great
absolutely
choice.
deserves our number one spot. I mean, it was a close race between that and Beverly Hills Wedding, but I had to go. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Oh my gosh, when we all reveal our list, if I see a Beverly Hills Wedding on someone's list, I'm gonna need some splaining on
Hey,
that.
I had it in the back pocket, depending on how the veto things went. I was gonna have to play it. So,
Over my dead body.
well, that's why I was holding on to it just in case.
Yeah.
Me too.
My pigeon was Easter under wraps. So
Oh
Another
my
good one.
Lord.
I refuse to even watch Beverly Hills Wedding again because of this. Like that was the last one on my thing. So Christine, thank you for not putting that on.
You're
Well,
welcome.
Emily, just
It was actually worth the rewatch because there was one funny scene in Beverly Hills Wedding.
No, it's not worth
It's not
it.
worth number one. It
No.
was just there was one scene. That's all
Lynn,
I'm
I'm
gonna say.
just gonna go, Lynn, because I know you're
Just
laughing.
go.
And you can't talk right now. But I know you already heard my piece earlier about this movie. There's 2 points I want to make. Here's the thing, you guys. Mashed potatoes wait for nobody.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I forgot to mention that line earlier.
Yes.
That line gets me every single time. I had to write that down. The second thing is this panned out really well because I knew that this movie was now going to come back into the first spot because you guys said you liked it. And I'm completely fine with this at number one because the Wedding Cottage was number one for me, but I'm fine with this as number one. I'm
awesome.
not vetoing it. I think this is the first episode I've ever been in that I've never vetoed anything.
This is crazy. I think I know why you haven't vetoed anything, but I'll wait for that reveal for a few minutes because Brendan Penny is trying to dial in. He is on the line. Give me just oh shoot, I lost him again. I'm so sorry.
Oh wait, he's calling right now. He is on the line. Oh, sorry, I have to go on mute, please.
Okay, ask him to mute because I want to hear from Thaddeaus. Thaddeaus, you have the final say. Is this movie going to stay at number one in merry measure, or are you going to veto it and we keep playing?
I have this is my number one pick, so I'm not vetoing it. I rewatching it, actually, I thought that The Wedding Cottage was going to be my number one, but then when I rewatched this, what I liked and like you has been said before, it's kind of both of those are pretty standard movies, but the actors, and particularly this one, I think that the lead characters are actually like more interesting than you normally see. So like they brought like a little bit more of their like maybe of their own personalities into their roles, and so it made them a little bit more dynamic and interesting to watch. I love Brenda Penny being like kind of nerd chic and kind of like the and even like the wardrobe with like the tight pants and the like the and everything. It was just so funny. I enjoy a leading man with glasses since I wear glasses in real life, and yes, and so we know that glasses can be sexy because they look good on me. Thank you. So, so I am.
You do look hot.
So I very much enjoyed this movie, and it shows like a standard movie can be elevated if you allow for like a little bit more personality in the leads and not just to have them be what's the word? Caricatures or something or whatever. So yeah, I really enjoyed this movie. It's number one, and I'm glad that. And so yeah, I'm keeping it. So yeah.
Way to go. I love the phrase nerd chic. I'm totally going to be using that in my real life. That is awesome. And Thaddeaus, every time I see you in the group, the song Sharp Dressed Man just plays in my head. So whenever you do speaking engagements, if you get asked to be on a panel, next time they need to play in your song. That song needs to accompany you.
That's now your new walk-in song.
Yeah, it's this walk-in song.
And it's going to say nerd chic.
Nerd chic. Absolutely. Absolutely. You guys, you did a great job. Before I read the list for a final time, and before we hear your personal lists, let me check in with my buddies, Erinbeth and Kate, to see how we did with our own personal lists. How did our lists compare with the panelists? Kate, why don't you go first and tell us your top 10, starting with your number 10, please.
So I matched 8 out of 10 with you guys. So my number 10 was 'Tis the Season for Love. My number 9 was A Dash of Love. My number 8 was A Little Christmas Charm. Sorry it didn't show up on the list. It's a sweet movie. Oh, Emily's making a terrible face right now. Number 7, Time for Them to Come Home for Christmas. Number 6, Pride, Prejudice, and Mistletoe. Number 5, The Wedding Cottage. Number 4, Valentine in the Vineyard. Number 3, Summer in the Vineyard. Number 2, In Merry Measure. Quick shout out to the writer of that movie, Russell Hainline. He is an amazing Letterboxd follow. You guys should all go follow him. He writes reviews for so many movies and he's really smart. And if you look at his IMDb, there's 3 credits. 2 of them are In Merry Measure and The Santa Summit.
Oh, what a champ.
This guy is
Awesome.
someone to watch in the Hallmark world. I hope that Hallmark sees what they have with him and they have him write a Christmas movie every year. My number 1 is, of course, Autumn in the Vineyard.
Great points. Great shout out for that writer. Erinbeth, what was your list? How'd you do?
I matched 9 out of 10. And my number 10 is Time for Them to Come Home for Christmas. Number 9, A Season for Family. 8, 'Tis the Season for Love. 7, A Dash of Love. 6, In Merry Measure. The only one I did not match out of the entire list is number 5, Beverly Hills Wedding.
No, just
Wait,
oh,
I am so sorry. What the
No.
actual hell?
Kate, I
You're
need
gonna
a
have
new
to tell us
regular
more
guest.
about that.
I need a new regular
okay,
co-host.
Erinbeth,
Kate.
you are fired.
You're fired.
I know
You're
I have
fired.
more saying that, but you are fired.
Wait, we got to hear her defense on this, guys, because
Yes.
this is a terrible movie. So let's hear it.
Let's hear it, Erinbeth.
Okay, so I was strictly going off of Brendan. I thought Brooke's character was absolutely terrible in this movie, and I wanted to drop kick her across the room about 300 times. But he was so, like, his character was so endearing, and the way he played it, I just fell in love with his character. I was like, this guy's sweet, and he's trying to protect his brother and his future sister-in-law, and like everything just seemed, it was just a sweet portrayal of this character that he did, and I felt it deserved number 5.
Okay, your time is up. What was your number 4?
All right, 4 is Pride, Prejudice, and Mistletoe. 3 is The Wedding Cottage. 2, Autumn in the Vineyard. And I already said my number 1 is The Secret Ingredient.
Wow. That's so so I too matched 9. I got 1 in the right order as well. So mine is at 10, Time for Them to Come Home for Christmas. At 9, A Season for Family. At 8, Valentine in the Vineyard. At 7, The Secret Ingredient. At 6, A Dash of Love. At 5, I too had A Little Christmas Charm on mine. I like Ashley Greene. And I think Brendan does a really good job in this movie. And it had a little bit of a mystery, and I love mysteries. So it wasn't that much of a mystery, but you know, it was a Hallmark level mystery. At 4, In Merry Measure. At 3, The Wedding Cottage. At 2, Autumn in the Vineyard. And at 1, My Girl Lacey, Pride, Prejudice, and Mistletoe. So there you have it. You guys, let's hear your personal picks. Christine, I'm going to start with you. Please tell us what your list was, starting at number 10.
Okay, I matched 9 out of the 10. Number 10 was The Secret Ingredient. Number 9 was Pride, Prejudice, and Mistletoe, because I felt like the Queen needed representation on the list. Number 8, I had Autumn in the Vineyard. 7, Valentine in the Vineyard. 6, I also had A Little Christmas Charm. I enjoyed that one. That's my only one that didn't match with our final list. Number 5, I had 'Tis the Season for Love. Number 4, A Season for Family. Number 3, Time for Them to Come Home for Christmas. 2, The Wedding Cottage, and 1, In Merry Measure.
Wow, you did really well. Thaddeus, what was yours for top 10?
Okay. So are we gonna allow the gourmet detective and Along Came a Nanny or whatever? Okay. So if
Yep.
that's the case, I actually matched 9 out of 10 as well. So 9 of my movies were on the list. So number 10 was Time for Them to Come Home for Christmas. Number 9 was Along Came a Nanny. Number 8, Pride, Prejudice, and Mistletoe. Number 7, The Secret Ingredient. Number 6, Tis the Season for Love. Number 5, A Season for Family. Number 4, Autumn in the Vineyard. Number 3, A Dash of Love. Number 2, The Wedding Cottage. And number 1, In Merry Measure.
You did really well too. Can you tell the listeners a little bit about Along Came a Nanny and why you liked it?
So, like I said, a lot of these movies that were kind of towards the bottom, like, you know, they there wasn't much between them. And it was different. It was like one of the early mysteries. And it was his first ever Hallmark movie, and he was the criminal. I guess he wasn't the killer because somebody died, but you know, he did rob and kidnap people. So and I think we got to see a little bit of his like charisma, and we got to see like kind of part of why they decided to start using him as lead in some of their movies. So I thought that it was a good one to have on the list.
Good points. Good points. Bad Brendan for the win here. Always wonderful. So Emily, why don't you bring us all home and share your top 10 list, your personal list with us, please?
So Lynn, you're going to have a problem when it comes out to the winner because I also had 9 out of 10.
I know. I'm dreading this when you guys send me your personal lists afterwards. This is going to be crazy.
And I said this on, I don't know what podcast in the past I said this, but I may not ever be allowed back on this podcast.
It was the fake relationship one.
Okay, it was that. Yeah, but I tracked it. Okay, so I may actually not be allowed on this podcast because actually at number 10, I had magical Christmas ornaments.
Oh, no.
No. Before I go on with my list, I have to say why.
Tell us why.
Although I love this vineyard theme, that was number 12, but I thought that was like the worst. I mean, that was number 11. That was out of the worst fit. And then the rest of them don't even get to be mentioned. But overall, I actually rewatched it, did find it charming, even though I found it very boring, but I did find a lot of plot holes. I don't know. So I might have been drinking that night. I don't know when I rewatched it.
It was number 11 for me. So.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so nonetheless, number 10, magical Christmas ornaments.
Do I need to get Brendan Penny on the line to tell you?
No, I
the
don't
title.
think you do.
Okay,
That might be the last thing she needs.
At number 9, I had "'Tis the Season for Love," and then "Pride, Prejudice, and Mistletoe," "Valentine in the Vineyard," "In Merry Measured," which I got, of course, vetoed. Because I actually did play that at 6 and it would have been at 6, but now it's 1, whatever. A Season for Family, The Secret Ingredient at 4, A Dash of Love at 3, Autumn in the Vineyard as 2, and The Wedding Cottage as 1.
Way to go.
For sure you were playing In Merry Measure just to get us to veto it.
Nope.
Wow.
But I actually do like that movie, so I'm completely fine with it as 1. So
Okay,
when you said you were going to veto it, I'm like, this is perfect because I know at least I'm fine with it at 1. If I could get married, if I got The Wedding Cottage as 2, I'd been completely fine.
Okay, good.
So I'm fine with it.
Great.
Because if it had to be on here somewhere, I would have never vetoed it at all.
So you guys did an awesome job.
Lynn, I have to tell you my notes for magical Christmas ornaments because you love Jessica Lowndes so much.
I do love Jessica.
The only thing I wrote next to this movie is Jessica Lowndes keeping the eyeliner industry in business.
I literally wrote her makeup is too much.
And you know what I wrote? That one scene where she's despondent and she has no makeup on. I was like, she's never looked prettier, like without all the makeup.
Can we also talk about this movie for a second? If this did get played, my number 1 complaint is you cannot ship presents like that in the USPS ever.
Yeah.
Okay. So I don't know what the hell Hallmark was thinking.
I think you're challenging Lynn. She has shipped some things that I don't know.
Oh.
Should we cut that out? Sorry. I should have said
No,
that.
it's okay. It's okay.
Again, I mean, if you want to replace me on another draft, that's completely fine. But I can still show up to that draft no matter what. Thank you so much.
Well, as I said earlier, when my regular co-host admitted to playing Beverly Hills Wedding, I said, I am looking for another regular co-host here. So
I'm more than happy to take it.
you're hired. You're hired. You guys,
Yeah,
this is
Erinbeth, you're fired. I'm sorry. Even Brendan Penny is on the line and he agrees with me.
even Brendan Penny didn't like that movie. You guys, this has been so much fun. Before I read the list for the final time, Emily or Kate, which one of you wants to divulge the Emily
Let
is going to
Emily do it. Yeah, do it.
Emily, divulge to our listeners what the heck has been going on this entire draft.
So a few days ago, I joked on Instagram posts that was the little teaser for this, that I'm starting a drinking game every single time Brendan Penny is on the line, has been mentioned on this podcast, because we know we also like kill this to death, whatever. So I'm happy to say that this drinking game has almost got me through a whole bottle of wine. I have no shame about that. In fact, I inspired everyone else to start drinking after we took a break.
Yes.
I started drinking. It's now 4:00 where I live, and I am already. You guys, this is what's left of this bottle.
Finish it.
I will finish it. There was one point of this draft that I also chugged my wine. I think it was when Erinbeth said that Beverly Hills Wedding was number 5. I am pleased to announce that both me and Kay have been taking tally.
Yes. What's the tally?
We are currently at 37.
Drum roll.
Yep, 37. 37.
Brendan Penny is on a line, so there's 38.
It's 38.
I have finished my glass of wine, and here we go, folks.
So listeners, this has been so much fun, because here's what happened. So right at the start, the ones participating in the Brendan Penny is on the line drinking game, double-decker drinking game, was Emily, Kate, Thaddeaus, and Christine all showed up with wine glasses right at the start. I didn't join until we took that break. We took a quick break after number 6. And so when I said these are becoming tongue twisters when I kept reading the list, I was not lying. Even halfway through was a challenge, but I love you guys so much. Christine and Thaddeaus, I hope you had a good time. Did you have a good time?
Absolutely. This was so much fun. Thank you for asking.
Most definitely. I loved it. It was a lot of fun.
Definitely. I can't wait to have you guys back again. Mrs. Walker, you know that you were my wind beneath my wings for this whole podcast series. So you are always welcome back. I love your choices. I love your energy. I love your drinking games. So
this is the only time I've actually had a drinking game during any of these drafts, and let me tell you, it's delightful. I may have to find out another one for the next time. I feel like the next time I'm on this, we will definitely need a drinking game, because there's 40 movies currently on the list.
That's correct.
I don't know what I signed up for. Again.
Yeah, it's the mega draft. It's a top 15, so it's a lot. I don't know.
I don't know why.
I was weak. I said I was never going to do it again, and here we are. So for the last time, this is the singular definitive list of the 10 best Hallmark movies featuring Brendan Penny as drafted by Thaddeaus, Christine, and Emily, aka Mrs. Walker. Here we go. At number 10, Time for Them to Come Home for Christmas. At 9, Pride, Prejudice, and Mistletoe. At 8, Autumn in the Vineyard. At 7, 'Tis the Season. At 6, A Season for Family. At 5, Valentine in the Vineyard. At 4, The Secret Ingredient. At 3, A Dash of Love. At 2, The Wedding Cottage. And at number 1, In Merry Measure. Great job, everybody. Awesome. Let's all say bye. Bye. Brendan Penny is never going to be on the line.
Another one. 39.
Hallmark Hallmark Movie Drafts is a monthly production. Stephanie Purcell creates the movie synopses using descriptions from IMDb or Hallmark.com as a base. Kate Baca vets the list of eligible movies and manages our Letterboxd account called Hallmark Drafts, where you'll find the list of eligible movies for each show, as well as the final top 10 list and the panelists who drafted them. Erinbeth Cermak creates the Where to Watch lists and the trivia round questions, and along with Stephanie and Kate, provides additional creative, research, and hosting support. I'm Lynn Austin. I'm the showrunner, producer, and host. I staff the panels, create the show topics, manage the production schedule and the HMD socials, and edit and publish the podcast. Intro and outro music is provided courtesy of Amato Zapana. Thank you to the Deck the Hallmark double-deckers who share their passionate opinions on these Hallmark movies that we love, or maybe not love, so much.